Oh, well, I'd say they're on a par because, as you would know, driving a train is all mental. People think that you just sit in the cab and do nothing. But you're thinking the whole time, and on an ore train up in the Pilbara, you're thinking 2 kilometres behind you and 20 kilometres ahead all the time.
Yeah. Well, you're right. And here you're more physical too, right, as well as the mental.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. But, yeah, it's akin in its own unique way. But I enjoy the modelling because I started the 2 locos last year in March at the start of COVID, and I'm just about at the end of building the underframes for the tenders. So only a few more parts to make, and the leaf springs, for which I need a bit of help with from a spring maker. That'll be finished, and I can move on to the tanks then. So, so I've got the materials all cut, ready to go. So,
wow. And so they operate exactly like a real steam engine.
Yes, yeah. This one behind me had a mechanical lubricator on it, and I could never get the bloody thing to work properly. So I made a hydrostatic lubricator. And if you have a look in the cab,
show us around, mate.
Yeah, there you go. In the window, there's the 2 glasses.
Wow.
There's the fire. It's a marine firebox on this one, a circular firebox. But yeah, and then
amazing.
Got a tender that you sit on with that lever. There's handbrake.
Wow.
Come along.
Wow, what an art form to literally create something miniature, which is pretty much as real as what the big locos are, right?
Yeah, that's the injector there that puts water in the boiler.
Wow.
Come along to the valve gear. You can see it.
Gosh.
Yeah, and the cylinders. And there's the front of it there.
Wow. Well, hey, what sort of horsepower do you think those little locos would put out?
Not much. No, not very much at all. These are all 5-inch gauge, but the larger ones, bigger scales, 7.25-inch gauge, or in America, the west coast of America, it's all 7.5-inch gauge. That some of those could be quite powerful. We've got some of them here in Australia as well. So,
yeah. Wow. And now go on, Doug. I'm sure you'd love to dive in.
Yeah. Just a question. What kind of steam engine is that, and what year was that engine built?
1920s industrial English loco built by Bagnall, the firm called Bagnall. And that they typically work on construction of dams and things like that, sugarcane places maybe.
Wow. Okay, John, can you just show us around your workshop a little bit, mate, with some of the paraphernalia you got there?
All right. Well, start here. There's another loco headlight off a South Australian 620 class.
Oh, yep.
Pile of junk on the bench. Got a heap of wheels. A couple of the bogies there that I'm working on. I've got to put a little dimple in the top of the axle box to take the equalising beams.
Wow.
More number plates. Most of them are genuine, but there's a couple of replicas there, like that 4079. They gave me that when I left the Pilbara in 1987. That's a copy of Pendennis Castle's number plate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is an entirely train workshop, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and here's the milling machine. I've got the one of the axle boxes nearly set up to put the little dimple in it to take that. Take the equalising beams.
Wow.
Railway paraphernalia, including a Chicago pneumatic speedo that came from the Pilbara.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. One of my prized number plates is number 400 there. That's off one of the class leader of the South Australian Garretts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Headlight.
Hey, what steam locos have they still got at in Adelaide now? That they run on.
There's none in Adelaide. They're at Mount Barker. That steam ranger. They've got 621 and the 2 RXs running at present. I believe today they're lifting the boiler out of 520. They're overhauling that once more. So that'll go again eventually.
So have they got for those, obviously it's a bit hard for people overseas to understand, but Mount Barker is in the Adelaide Hills, and I think they run on a closed line now, which is only for historical runs, Victor Harbour, correct?
That's correct, yeah, from Mount Barker to Victor Harbour.
Do they actually run on the main lines anymore for, public, big runs, or no?
They're all completely isolated now. It's the standard gauge to Melbourne sealed that fate that they had to go on their own line.
Yeah. And look, the drivers now, are they using drivers who are actually working on, currently on the locos, or have they trained their own drivers because it's their own line?
The railway people help them, and unfortunately most of them have passed away now, so totally reliant on their own people they've trained initially by the railway people, but now they're training their own. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Started their own little rail system. That's awesome. Because I remember when I was at Mile End, it was now the 620 is the big green one, correct?
Yeah, it's black now. They painted it black. Yeah, it looks quite nice actually.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. The crazy part is, and it's a little bit of a regret, that I used to walk past that thing for as long as I was in the job, 13 years, and I don't even think I ever got up on it once, because it was just like, I'm at work, going to, you took it as just part of your day, but then when you leave, you go, what an idiot. Like you had all this history there, and I didn't take an interest in it, which was quite sad.
We all do things like that and regret it later. But
but I'm glad that what you really opened up for me, which is I actually had no idea, is that you're connected internationally with rail people, and that's awesome. I love that. The fact that
I've met people at the Cumbras and Toltec who do restorations. I've been involved with the Pichirichi Railway. I've been involved as project manager for 3 of the restorations or overhauls there.
Wow.
2 of them were really significant in that we had to make lots of new components, including casting new cylinders. So,
that's awesome, John. I'm so thankful to Doug for bringing this up, because I just said it right. I was in the railways for so long. I think I may have lied. I might have got up in the engine once and had a look and thought, oh, well, this would have been cool. But then I just blasé about it because you're working around them all the time and didn't take much notice. And it was Doug who said, why don't we start a YouTube channel interviewing drivers? And I went, that's a good idea. Thanks for thinking of it. And I'm glad he did, because it's been awesome, mate. Like, it really is hearing these stories, and especially what you're doing. Wow, what a incredible hobby.
There's a guy in South Africa, in Cape Town, who's built his own railway. It's a commercial venture. He's as crazy as anything. I could perhaps put you onto him and see if he will.
Wow. That would be awesome. That would be really cool.
To go on with you. I'll give him a call later, because I can call him on Messenger. So
Well, what I'll do, John, we'll and I hope everyone doesn't mind us talking business, but we'll pass on the name of the South African locomotive driver that is going to come on with us. His schedule's a bit up in the air at the moment, but I'll pass his name on to you, and maybe this gentleman may or may not know him as well. But that'd be awesome. Like, build his own railway. I tell you, over here, you probably know it. Phillimore, there's a little private railway up here that they've got the old, what I call the old S classes and B classes, but that's not what they name them here. But this Phillimore Railway is about an hour away from where I am now in LA, and they've got their own track where they run the big locos. They have a dining car. They stop here and there, and
is that Valley?
Whereabouts?
Napa Valley.
No, I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. But I know what you're talking about. That's that's another big rail system up there, and because I've heard someone mention it to me. But you should Google Fillmore Railway. What it is, I took my son up there, and we rode in the dining car, and I loved it. It was just so cool. And we have little stops, and they turn around and come back, but you can ride in the locomotive. So I had my young bloke. He was only probably 7 or 8 at the time. He was in the assistant seat. The other young kid, the kid driving, was about 25, right? And I said, "How did all this start, mate? How did you become a driver?" He said, "Oh, my dad. My dad invested in all this. He bought all the locomotives." He said, "I work on them and pull them apart and fix them." I said, "Oh yeah, like just little things." He goes, No. He said, "I actually work on them. I rebought." I said, "Hang on, wait a minute. You take the pistons and the heads off?" He goes, "Yeah." I went, "Wow, man." I said, "How old are you?" He goes, 25. I went, "Wow, that's amazing." Like, he just was such a cool young man. And this was quite a long time ago, but yeah, did all the work on the locos. Him and his dad run this, and it's just amazing. Like, really great effort.
Yep. Yeah, terrific.
You'll have to. Have you been over to the States? I'm sure you have.
Well, we've been to the Cumbras and Toltec and the Durango and Silverton. Seen the Daylight Loco up in Portland, but that's pretty. Been on the Mountaineer in Rocky Mountaineer in Canada.
Oh wow!
But I'd like to go back to the Cumbras and Toltec. That's a fabulous setup. If you ever, that's in New Mexico, Colorado. If ever you go there, it really is. It's the real deal for 1880s railroading. In fact, they just had an event last month to celebrate their 50th anniversary. We've had 5 engines all built before 1900, all in steam, all running.
Now, what's the bit? We're in New Mexico a few years ago when my son Cody was doing a film there, and I've got a big jacket somewhere. I think it might be home in Australia, but it was a preservation society. But that locomotive, I think it was one of the biggest steam in the US. It was a monster. They were just
big boy,
big boy, yeah. Oh man, we stood in front of the driving wheels, and like I'm 6'6", and here's this big driving wheel, and my 2 boys there, mate. Wow, what a machine that is! And I think they've just got it running a few years ago. Yeah.
They have 90, and they were overhauling it. We went to the steam shop in Cheyenne and saw it. Met the guy Ed Dickens there. That was quite good. Yeah. So we were grateful to him to show us around.
Yeah, great. They sent me a jacket, like a big jacket with their emblem logo on the back of it, which was really nice.
Perfect. Yeah.
But I may be in Colorado, mate. If I do this audition tonight and I get it, I will be filming in Colorado. So it'll be a good excuse to go back and have a look at some locos.
Yeah, Charmer is the place. It's a magnificent place. It's pretty cold in winter, I think, but under 20 feet of snow.
Well, listen, John, time's gone, but not gone, because we'll definitely get I'd love to get you and Trevor on together, and possibly if we can work it out, we'd love to get someone from Africa and the 3 of you guys on all at once, which would be really interesting to, have you all sharing your stories again in another ep,
Yeah. There's nothing else you wanted to ask about the Pilbara or anything like that?
Well, no, I reckon what we'll do is we'll save it for the next one, because what we're doing with guys is bringing them back on again, because like I said, so many guys have got so many stories. The guy from Canada, Cecil, he had some really interesting stories. Sadly, Cecil had to leave the job because of a medical condition, which he shared with us. But his stories were interesting. We're all about the same age, so we're just going to keep recycling, interviewing guys and bringing new people on, and building it as we go along.